Hello, my name is Mark Holthe. I'm a Canadian immigration lawyer, and in this video, I'm going to show you the secret to finding your correct NOC. Now, all of you express entry hopefuls out there just waiting anxiously for the rounds of invitations to start in July. Well, why is getting your NOC so important? Why don't you go back and watch that video I did on my top 5 reasons express entry applications get rejected. What's on the list? Getting the NOC code wrong. So let's dive in and I'll give you my breakdown of the steps and the order in which I go about determining whether or not I have the correct NOC. So let's start with the first question. Inside, outside. If you're inside Canada, you're gaining work experience on a work permit. And there's 2 kinds of work permits. One that's employer specific, one that isn't. Some of those employer-specific work permits are LMIA-based work permits, labor market impact assessment-based work permits, or they're work permits that are employer-specific. But in both cases, to get those work permits, you had to identify your NOC. Maybe it wasn't you. Maybe it was the big global firm that helped you to get your work permit. But if it's employer-specific and it's occupation-specific, that NOC code will already have been identified for you. So you need to pay attention to it, figure out what it was. Hopefully they got it right. If they didn't get it right, and you now see that, oh, if I'm applying for my express entry and I use that NOC code, it's not going to be correct, come book a consult with our firm, Holthe Immigration Law. But leaving that aside, that's the first step. If you're on an employer-specific work permit, check to make sure the NOC that was used for that work permit is the right NOC, because you'll want consistency. And if it's not consistent with what you're putting in express entry, that will be a problem. All right. Open work permit holders, it's all good. If you're outside of Canada, same story. You're going to go to the next step. And the next step is essentially, well, I like to go right to the IRCC website, and they have a nice little NOC tool that they have to help you sort through the various lists of occupations to find the right NOC. So when you're doing that, the best thing to do, well, you can click on the link because I have a little link to the NOC tool, and it will take you to the spot where you can scroll down a little bit. And where do you start? Well, the best place to start is really just your title. So put your title in that little filter items box, and then you can just search. Sometimes you get lucky. And when you search for that title, the job title, it'll pop up. You know, for example, if you search for a cook position, you'll find it. The cook will be right on the list, and you will see that it's listed as NOC 6322 on, remember, the NOC 2016. That's the one immigration is using right now. Yes, I know the NOC 2021 is on its way, the tiered system, but for now, those of you who are going through express entry and you're submitting profiles and you're getting ready for the July draws, the NOC 2016 is the one you're going to use. So start with your title, see if you can find it. When you're there, if you're fortunate and you can find it, then wow, the process is a whole lot easier. You don't have to worry about it. You just select the NOC, you can pull it out, you can see your skill level, and well, the rest is history. So job title is a super, super good way of doing it. Well, what if you can't find the job title? Well, then the next step is to actually go to the NOC 2016 site and start doing keyword searches. So that's another step 2, is to try to search a corresponding similar title. And that will help to narrow down the list. Now, if based on the title, you're able to pull something up, you need to check to make sure that even though the title is the same, that the duties and responsibilities that you performed are going to match. And remember, for express entry, you need to perform a substantial number of the main duties to have your NOC match with your position, at least the ones that you've chosen. What's a substantial? Well, it's most. Maybe it's a little bit more than most. Most would be 51%, right? So we go a little bit more. I would say probably around 75%. That's a good rule of thumb. Now, sometimes the number of duties won't line up perfectly with 75%. Maybe there's only 4. So then, well, wait a minute. If there's 4, then 3 would be the winner. That would be right on. But maybe there's 8, right? Maybe you perform 6 of those. Is 5 enough? The goal is you're going to try to hit as many as you can, as well as the performing all of the activities in the lead statement, that's the equivalency. So NOC code, when you're first choosing the starting point, it's always with the title. If the title's just not working, then you've got to do a more comprehensive search. when you go to the NOC code, you'll also be able to find something called occupational structure. And that occupational structure allows you to drill down based on the industry. So you'll start with the particular industrial area. So for example, if I was going through, like I said, for a cook, I know that cooks, and you can go by the 4 digits and they will give you a very, very good guideline. So for cooks, they're 6322. So if you start with 6 as the first digit, that tells you within the NOC structure, the occupational structure, what industry it is in. And so 6 I know is sales and service occupations. And so that's another way that you can go. And so you work off of the occupational structure, and then you drill down looking through similar occupations to see in your industry if you can find a general heading, a subheading that then leads ultimately down to a potential occupation that works for you. So that's another option. Step 3 is looking through the occupational structure. All right. Now, the last one, I guess I would focus on is sometimes a word search. And there's an advanced search feature that exists within the NOC 2016 website that you can use. So maybe there's some words that relate to the duties that you perform that are fairly generic. Sometimes those duties alone, you will be able to search just by the word search and pull up occupations based on that. And I almost always, if I have to get down to that level, that's where I'll start. So I'll drill first the title, then I'll try alternative titles, then I'll try occupational structure, then I'll do an actual keyword search. Generally, going through that process, eventually I will find the NOC that fits as close as possible. And like I said, you have to, and probably I would make this the 5th step, is confirm that you've selected the right one by doing exactly what I told you, comparing the duties. And remember, the duties are not just ones you think you performed or know that you performed. It's the duties that are listed in your reference letter, because that's the only thing that immigration officers have to compare. In my course, I have a NOC selection tool that I help my students to create to make it really easy for an officer to agree that you have chosen the right NOC. So that NOC selection tool basically compares the NOC duties with the duties in your reference letter and melds it all together in a way that an officer says, wow, that was easy. Yep, that's the right NOC. On to the next thing, which is approval of your application. So choosing the right NOC is absolutely critical. Following the steps that I've laid out here and making sure that you've proofed it to make sure you've got the right NOC code selected, that's how you do it. Make sure that you click on the description below and you'll see that there's a link to my upcoming course that starts on June the 1st. The cart opens, and at the end of June, you will see me in 4-hour sessions, live sessions that are Q&As for just the subscribers to the course to answer any other question that you might have, in addition to the over 500, minutes, 10 hours, I guess it is, of on-demand courses that are all designed to walk you through the whole Express Entry process. All right. If you need any help, we're here to help you, and I'll see you around in the Express Entry wonderful world that hopefully is coming in July. Take care, everybody.